Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, welcome to the Psych Legal Pop podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a psychotherapist. I'm Brooke Brigham, I'm the attorney.
And I'm Tess Brigham, I'm the therapist.
And today we are going to be talking about the television show Sister Wives.
Ooh.
Now, this is a show that's been on for a million years. Actually, I think it started in 2010, and it's been one of the most boring shows on television until last season, which was season 16. Basically, gosh, I was telling you, this show was on my DVR for years, and I would record it every week. And when I ran out of shows to watch, I would watch it.
If I had nothing better to watch.
nothing better to watch, I would put it on because it's kind of like watching paint dry, but there's something kind of fascinating about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, it's polygamy.
It's oddly addicting. Yeah, so boring. It's so boring. And I think I know why it's so boring, but keep going.
Well, okay, so if you don't know, it's about a polygamist family. Kody Brown is the husband, and he had 3 wives who he had married in pretty quick succession, like now over 20 years ago. But at the time the show started, I think he'd been married to one for like 16 years and then one for 18 years and one for 19 years, something like that. And then all of a sudden, 16 years later, after the 3rd wife, he decides to take a new wife, a 4th wife, who's younger, but she has children. She's divorced.
Robin.
So the wives, the first wife is Mary, and he only had 1 child with Mary. She was only able to have 1 child.
Which I think has also been hard. It's not, I don't know if it's ever talked about, but it seemed very clear to me that Mary was very upset.
Was very upset about not being able to have more children because in their culture, that's like currency, to have a lot of children. You're expected to have a lot of children. So then the second wife is Janelle, and she had 6 children, and then Christine is the 3rd wife, and she also had 6 children. And while Christine was pregnant with her last child, he started dating.
No.
Courting.
Because I swear to God, if I had to hear him talk about courting Robin one more time, I was going to scream.
It's disgusting. And so he started courting Robin, and they, and then eventually moved her to the city where they were living. Well, city.
Was that St. George? Is that St. George, Utah? Is that?
Well, the Browns were living in Lehi, Utah, which I think is not too far outside of the Salt Lake City area, I believe. St. George is farther away. I believe that's maybe where Robin lived. Anyway, she lived several hours away, and he was traveling. He's already spread very thin. So then in addition to that, he's traveling several hours to go, court her. I don't know where he was staying when he would do that. And just, it was taking up a lot of his time. So anyway, they decide, I guess, as a family that, they're going to bring her into their family. And, it has very mixed reviews. Now, see, I listened to a lot of other Sister Wives podcasts and different stuff. And so I learned that Mary was the one who kind of helped hooking up.
Yeah, they talk about
Robin
that in the
and
first
Kody.
episode. Yeah, because
She introduced them.
Sorry, I never watched the show. And I knew what was going on because, again, much like the Kardashians, if you follow any kind of pop culture, I would hear about these things. I would hear about the show, and I would hear about Mary got catfished, and I hear about this and that. But I went back and watched the first couple episodes, in anticipation of this. And it was very, it was Mary who liked Robin.
Right.
I think Mary was looking for a friend.
Exactly.
And I think that she liked Robin, and she was like, oh, great. this is how I can get this friend to come in. And little did we know what this would bring.
I think Mary did want someone kind of on her side because also and this is they all wrote a book together.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, together?
Together. And again, because I'm crazy, I listened to this. I'm going to give a shout out to the podcast with it's Caitlin and Ace Fanning. And they have a podcast called Love Should Be Multiplied, Not Divided. And then they have a Patreon, which I subscribe to.
And it's just Sister Wives.
It's just Sister
my God.
Wives.
I might have to start listening to the show.
They do a deep dive.
Oh.
So on the Patreon, they have a book club. And they read the entire book.
Oh, out loud?
Out loud.
Oh, my God.
Over a period of several weeks. So I learned a lot from the book. And what I learned was that, Janelle and Mary did not like each other at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I think Mary, even though she came from a polygamous family, she seemed to be very jealous of Janelle. And the interesting part is that Janelle, she became a polygamist later, and she wasn't raised like that. Janelle was married to Mary's brother.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know. This is fresh gossip.
Yeah, so that's how they got that's how she got introduced to this. And then Janelle's mother, so she became friends with Kody and Mary. And then Janelle's mother came into the picture. Long story short, Janelle ends up marrying Kody, and Janelle's mom marries Cody's dad.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So very
incestuous.
Weird.
So, and that was my other question. So, and Janelle didn't have any children with her first marriage.
Right. No children in the first marriage.
And so I thought that divorce was the ultimate thing, but Robin's divorced when she comes in.
Right.
But I guess
I think I don't think it's encouraged, but I mean, obviously it happens.
Yeah. I thought that was anyway.
Yeah. So Mary was very mean, it sounds to me, like from what everything I've heard. Mary was very mean to Janelle, and she was very upset because, Mary had a hard time getting pregnant. Janelle got pregnant first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and had the first baby.
God, I'm learning so much.
I know. It's sick how much I know. And so then Mary got pregnant and had the second child, and then I think Christine came in right around that time, and she had a child. So they had like all these children, like boom, 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 in succession. And Kody said that he brought Janelle in basically to sort of be a buffer between Janelle and Mary.
Wait, Christine?
Christine.
Oh, he brought Christine in to buffer for the two.
To buffer them because Christine was very happy and perky and whatever. And he has since admitted that he was never really attracted to her.
Yes, I saw that.
But he married her, I think, primarily because he thought it was going to raise his status in his church, because Christine is basically the granddaughter of like the founder of their church.
Oh.
Rulon, God, what is their last name? It'll come to me in a minute. Yeah, she was like polygamous royalty. And I think that Kody was probably interested in maybe moving up in the church or something.
Interesting.
So he marries her. So anyway, they're all together for a very long time. They, I think, really struggled. I know there were times where Janelle left with the kids for a few years.
Wow.
I think they I think they had a lot of money problems.
Yeah, I really want to get into the money issue, because
Yeah.
what I wrote down in the first episode was Kody has a Lexus. I can't afford a Lexus, and I have one kid. I mean, I guess I could afford a Lexus if that's how I wanted to spend, if I kicked my kid out of private school. But I mean, I was just really surprised by how do they have any money? And this morning
they struggled.
I know. And so this morning I'm like looking at what's the average cost of a house in Flagstaff, Arizona. Let's talk about the money stuff later. But anyway, I was always perplexed by how do these people make money?
Well, yeah, they really struggled. They all lived together, the three of them,
In that
and
house
Kody,
in Lehigh.
Even before the Lehigh house, they were living in, I want to say Wyoming. They lived in a 3-bedroom trailer.
Oh my
with
God.
4 adults and like however many kids they had at the time, 8 kids or something.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Christine was on public assistance, that they had filed, various of them had filed bankruptcies.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they struggled really a lot.
Yeah.
And then they got that house in Lehigh and they lived there. They didn't live there the whole time. I think they only lived there for a few years before they got the television show. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he sought that out, and he decided that he was going to, I don't know, leave their church, go public, and be on this TV show. Mm-hmm. And, I think they needed the money. Mm-hmm. And so the very first season, is when they bring in Robin. And from day one, you could see that it was just going to be a total disaster.
Yes. Well, I wrote down what Christine. So Christine is in the first episode. I only watched the first couple episodes because, again, this show is so boring and you don't have to watch every episode. But I wrote down what Christine said. So she's very, very pregnant. Mm-hmm. And she says she's talking about Kody leaving to go courting Robin, and she says, "You can't go. You can't leave me. You are replacing your family." At the same point, I realized that it needed to happen, but that doesn't make it easier. So you could hear her saying, like, I don't want you to go. I don't want this to happen. And I'm having to figure out how to accept it because I don't really have a choice but to accept it. And I also thought what was interesting is that, and I think Kody does this, and I think the show does this, where they've set up this sort of Robin versus Christine thing. And I think that it's got nothing to do with Robin versus Christine. I think it was very much like Christine was obviously the last of the 3 wives, so she only knew that situation. Mm-hmm. I mean, Mary's known various situations. And I think that she, this is what was talked about in the Playboy Girls Next Level talk about, where Kendra always got deferential treatment because she was the last girlfriend and always the last one coming in. And I think Christine maybe got a little bit of special. She's like,
I wanted to be the last wife.
Okay, so she says this.
She says it all the time.
Oh, okay. I guess there are some episodes I should watch, but so that's what occurred to me was like, oh, she's never not had this configuration, unlike Janelle and Mary. And she really doesn't want him to go. And she's pregnant. She's got all these hormones like going all over the place.
And financially, they are still not in a great place financially. Even though they've gotten this TV show, it's the first season. They probably got paid almost nothing for it. They are in a bad place financially, and he's bringing in 4 more mouths to feed. Yeah. And Robin doesn't work.
Yeah, how was
she's
Robin
never
living
worked
before?
Well, she was married. I guess her husband supported her. I don't know. She had, I think, kind of a bad divorce. I don't know, but she has never worked on the show outside of, trying to participate in some of these family businesses that never went anywhere. Nothing ever happened with it. So, no, Christine was mad as hell from day one. And literally, now, since the show's gotten good and since I've been into this podcast, another thing on the podcast is that they've been going back and reviewing like all the episodes from day one.
Oh yeah, so to see all these clues.
Watching it in hindsight, with what we know now, you're just like all these clues, foreshadowing. Like every single season, she said the same thing. That she didn't. She felt like Robin got special treatment. She was jealous. just everything that she's saying, the whole breakup of their relationship, she has been saying from day one consistently.
Yeah. So, and I guess it's everyone knows, and I think this is everyone's theory, is that he really loves Robin the most.
Yeah.
Like, I think of the three, of all the wives, I think she was the one that he was attracted to and fell in love with. And she came in and she, and I think I don't know. I can't understand. I don't really understand Janelle's relationship with him. Like Christine, I can understand it, and I can understand Mary's. But Janelle, I don't know if she loves him or hates him
they
or
almost
what.
seem like best friends / business partners.
Kind of, yeah.
She's the one who always, wanted to work outside the house and, kind of made sure. And it turns out she's the one who always went without so that even present day, as we see the show now, Robin lives in this $1 million house and Janelle was living in some crappy little rental house, and now she's living in a trailer.
Yes.
The trailer
looks nice.
It's a nice trailer, but it's a trailer.
Yes.
With no running water as of yet. But yes, this is just the themes of this show have never changed. Mm-hmm. They've been ongoing, and I think Mary also, I feel like, has a lot of jealousy. Janelle doesn't seem jealous at all, but Mary, she talks about how I'm not sure how much Mary even really wanted another wife. They were married I think they really loved each other. Mm-hmm. They were young. They got married.
I think if she was able to have more children, this is what I wonder.
She'd be happier.
Well, no, I also wonder if he would have maybe even had a second wife or a third wife. I mean, maybe he was determined to do that, but I do wonder if Mary was able to have a lot more. No, but you just said, hold on. Janelle had a baby first. Mm-hmm. So he was already with her then. They didn't know she had issues having kids. Right. Okay. But that theory's wrong.
Yeah, I don't know, but I wonder.
But yeah, I think Mary was loved, but I think that they've grown out of, over years of doing that. And the thing is that this whole equation is a losing equation because, and I have a lot of feelings about Kody, but the biggest feeling that I have, one of the biggest problems is that Kody really does not have the personality of someone who would be a good husband to four women.
Right.
Like, you really, truly, if it's almost like if you look at it like a job, I would not hire Kody. He is not good at this job. And so that's the other part of it that's so frustrating about what's been going on is that you can see when you go back in time, like, God, Kody, if you had maybe stopped and did this or thought about this, and he's big defenses. I'm spread so thin. So thin. And so, and what do I do? And it's like, that is the problem. Relationships are investments.
It's true, but you did it to yourself.
Yeah. But relationships, you invest in relationships with people. What do they say? They say there's studies that have been done that say that you really truly can't have more than 5 people in your orbit that you really invest a lot of time and energy into. And that's the thing is that he has all of these people that he has to be fully invested in all the time, that it was just a losing battle. But I do think that if Kody was a different kind of person, I do wonder if he could have been a better, leader and a better.
But I'm not sure if, there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if anyone's capable of this because when, it is impossible to give that many people that much love and attention. And the whole premise of the show is how, love should be multiplied, not divided. The more children, the more love. Oh, just keep having kids. It's more love. And there's the siblings. They all like to be together. It's like, no, you're depending on the older siblings. They're all parentified. Mm-hmm. They're taking care of the younger siblings.
Yeah.
And remember what Christine said she said that one of the things, this was around the time Robin came in. She said recently, one of the things that was really like a deal breaker and where she stayed for a long time after that. But anyway, she said that when she was pregnant and when she was Christine was in charge of taking care of Basically all the kids.
Yeah, because Janelle had to
Janelle
work.
worked. I don't know what Mary was doing.
No, Mary was going to school in those first episodes, but I think Mary was also taking care of the kids.
I think she was working before then. But anyway, Christine was homeschooling and caring for all of these young kids.
Mm-hmm.
The older kids were parentified and, like getting up, like Logan, Janelle's oldest son. He's getting up in the morning making bacon and eggs for all the kids.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Cody's sleeping down the hall
Yeah.
at someone else's house. He can't get up and anyway. So she's working her ass off all day. And she said because they needed money, she was having to work at night.
Yes.
And so because she was gone, her oldest daughter, Aspen, who was 10,
Oh my gosh.
was in charge of putting all the kids to bed,
Mm-hmm.
making sure they, had dinner and whatever, tucking them in. She asked Kody, I need your help. I need you to go over there and help and put the kids to bed. And he refused to do it.
Yeah, because he felt like he didn't have...
it was not his night or whatever. He's like, no, I have other stuff to do over here.
Yeah, he really makes up the rules as he goes along.
Exactly.
He really kind of decides, well, this is what I want to do and this is what I don't want to do. One thing, I'm just looking at my notes. So I watched the first couple episodes of the show and then I was like, okay, I'm going to skip back to, I'm going to go all the way up to 15. I want to get a little bit of what's been happening. Boy, we really go on a hair journey with Kody. Cody's hair.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is quite the journey of his hair. And because I remember watching the first episode and going, "Oh, his hair is not that bad," and it's progressively getting worse.
The hairline
and worse.
is just going backwards and backwards.
But the more the hairline goes back, the more he's growing it out longer. He would be so much more attractive if he just kind of kept it short.
Just shave it.
And shave it and do kind of like a, Bruce Willis kind of, not completely bald, but have some hair there.
Well, he's doing all this creative comb over work.
Yes.
And now he has a perm to give him more volume.
Yes.
So that he
So
can then...
is it a perm? I
think it's a perm.
It's got to be something because his hair was kind of wavy.
It was
frizzy,
but it was frizzy. Now it's tight curled perm. It's a perm. And he gets some volume in it and then he uses it to kind of cover because his hairline goes back to almost the back of his head.
Oh, really? That far?
He's got a widow's peak. But even the widow's peak part is very far back. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
But you see him at some point and then he shaved the sides and he's got a man bun and he's got this and now I'm he's wearing a visor.
He's trying so hard to not let go of the hair.
Yeah, but I will say, I don't want to comment on Robin's looks per se because she's beautiful, but you do see her from the first couple episodes to now, plural marriage has been hard on her. She
doesn't look good.
She looks very tired.
She looks stressed and tired.
Yes.
People say they think she has a thyroid condition because her neck is so
that's
big
so different
and swollen.
Oh, okay.
And apparently if you have a thyroid issue, it almost looks like a butterfly, the pattern of the swelling. It's kind of like a butterfly. But she was
a much smilier.
Stressed.
Yeah. I mean, when you see her in those first episodes, and obviously time and, people age and all of that.
It's been over 10 years.
Yeah, but she seemed lighter, kind of, all of that. And you see her now, you're like, oh my God, what has happened? From episode 1 to episode whatever, in 15, 16, wherever I tuned in, I was like, oh my God, what has happened to you?
Well, yeah, and just their life is so chaotic, and I really feel for those kids, and that's why, of course, none of the kids so far who've, gotten married, or none of them have anything to do with plural marriage. And their life was always so chaotic, even just getting together for a simple meal or a holiday. And then when they had to move from Utah.
Oh, so explain this to me. So this is how I understand it. So they're in Utah, the show goes up, so the show's up. And I remember this in the news. The show starts to air, they start to get some heat about the fact that he's a polygamist and that he would be in trouble.
Right.
And so they move from Utah to Las Vegas.
But they don't have any housing set up.
In Las Vegas.
So they do this very hastily, done move because I think sheriffs are driving by their house and it's in the news and the DA's office is involved. So they get really spooked. So they literally just pack up as much as they can and put them in a bunch of U-Hauls and get on the road with all these kids, go to Las Vegas. They get some big rental house to stay in temporarily, and then they find rental houses for 4 rental houses. They move into those, and then they stay there until they build those houses on the cul-de-sac.
Okay, and that's what in Vegas.
In Vegas.
Okay.
So once they were all together in the cul-de-sac, things seemed pretty good.
Which to me, I think if you're going to do the plural marriage, that's the way to go.
Right.
Right? A cul-de-sac. Right.
Right. Everyone has their own space.
Yes.
You literally can just walk from house to house. Although, turns out things really, like, because it's Kody, he's still not handling it well. But, so, and then abruptly, he decides, that he wants to move out of Las Vegas. And I've heard speculation that they were spooked by that shooting a few years
at the country music festival.
Yeah.
And
because they kept saying, oh, well, Las Vegas is not, it's not good for our kids. And I don't know. I think it might have something to do with, I think Robin wanted to move because her oldest son got into that Northern Arizona University, which is in Flagstaff.
Okay.
And he, according to her, is autistic or on the spectrum or something and has special needs. And I think she wanted him to go there and them be close to him. I don't know. These are just things people say. But, and then they do another kind of, half-assed, planned out move.
So wait, how long were they in Vegas for?
I feel like they must have been there for like about 5 years.
Oh, that long.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or so. And then, of course, the kids, I feel so bad for these kids. They were devastated to all have to leave Utah. Then they get to Vegas. They hate it there, but then they eventually...
Yeah.
Then they get settled in Vegas. Then it's like, oh, now we're moving to Flagstaff.
Yeah.
By that time, some of the older kids had moved out. But there's still a lot of younger kids who now have to move again to Flagstaff. And then when they got to Flagstaff, they bought this property, Coyote Pass.
If I had $1 for every time I heard Horton and Coyote Pass.
But they just bought the land. It has no utilities on it. And that's another thing about Kody. Is that he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't plan anything or think ahead. He just buys this property, and he has this brilliant plan. They're going to build houses out there. Or he actually wanted to build one big, huge house, which everybody, all the wives, pretty much rejected, except for Robin. And so then again, they're scrambling to find houses to rent or live in, and they're all spread out. And, they really should have never left Las Vegas. But, yeah.
So this is where they are now.
This is where they are now. And... then COVID
oh my God,
is the undoing of this family.
Of this entire family. Yes, yeah. I know all of those and I do want to talk about the COVID thing. But so at this point though, how are they then making money? Because I was very unclear about what Kody's job was in the first season. Like he does marketing or real estate or something. I was so confused.
Well, I don't know what he did back in Utah, but I know that recently, and they can't talk about it on the show, I think, he sells guns at gun shows.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But I don't think TLC wants that, so he doesn't talk about it. But what I've seen on the internet is that, he sells guns at these gun shows, and that's his job, and then they get money from the show, and then... Well, when they were in Las Vegas, I think Christine got her real estate license. Not Christine, I'm sorry, Janelle. Christine tried to get her real estate license. I can't remember if she ever did or not. And then Robin tried to start this business called My Sister Wives Closet that went nowhere.
What is that?
It was like jewelry and stuff. It never went anywhere, and no one cared about it or was interested in it. And then, Christine and Mary started doing LuLaRoe.
Yes, I know that one. And Mary still does the
Mary
LuLaRoe.
still does it.
Yes, she's a very successful seller.
Yeah, I don't know if Christine still did, but Christine and Janelle's daughter, Maddie, they all do this MLM called Plexus, which is like, it's like a health, weight loss.
But I mean, I don't know. If I was them, I think I'd be doing Lula. I mean, even though LuLaRoe and all of these are terrible MLMs, it's a little bit like, just like with the Kardashians, people are going to buy it from you.
Buy it.
I think that's probably why people are buying Kody's guns. You know,
Right.
I want to buy a gun from Kody from Sister Wives. I think, right? I figured that the show, as the show was going along, I don't think they make a lot of money from TLC, but I thought like, oh, they probably do cameos, they probably do movie appearances, they probably do this, they probably have a lot of these hustles. But even still, all those hustles to feed all those kids and all the, that's what I keep coming back to. Is
he's
like,
not, truth be told, he's not a good provider.
Well, and the other thing is, I'm like, how? Because this latest episode is they're all like, well, we have to pay off Coyote Pass. I'm like, how did they get the money for Coyote Pass? And then I'm looking at these houses, and that's why I was looking up, like, what's the average cost of a home? Because being here in California, right, everything's skewed, and we have these fantasies that every time we leave the state that we're going to be able to get these big mansions for what we pay. But apparently, like, the average cost of a house in Flagstaff is $500,000, $600,000, which really surprised me. I was like, that's a lot more than I thought for Arizona, but I guess
Well, for a nice house, and it's not cheap. But
those are huge houses.
Well, like the Coyote Pass, I mean, they didn't pay cash for that. They obviously mortgaged it because that's one of the things that they're talking about now.
Yeah, but they have to pay it off.
They can't, apparently, according to the building codes there, this seems strange to me, but I guess you can't build on a property if you have too much of a mortgage on it or something. Or any mortgage on it. I don't know, but they obviously have a mortgage on it. I know they bought Robin's house for around $1 million.
Okay, so that was $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a big house. I think it's like at least a 6-bedroom house or something. And then I know Christine bought her house. Well, that's another thing with the finances.
Yeah.
It's kind of unclear. Like, okay, well, they obviously pool some money together, but there's obviously some money that is theirs. So I think that when they bought those houses in Las Vegas, whatever they got out of the house was kind of theirs. Because I remember Christine sold her house really quickly, and then she bought a house in Flagstaff. And I don't think Kody, well, he can't be for financing. He can only be on the lease and be financed, with whoever he's legally married to,
which is Robin.
Which is now Robin.
Yeah.
Which is another thing. How did they even get these mortgages in Las Vegas? I mean, basically, Robin and Christine were single women. And I think that's a reason why Janelle's had problems getting housing in Flagstaff. But also, I don't think she really wants to spend a ton of money on... She doesn't care that much.
No. But this is the one thing that I've noticed. I want to talk about Kody. So this is what I've noticed watching all of these episodes with him is Kody doesn't listen.
No.
He never listens. And it is so clear as he goes from relationship to relationship with all of these women where he is he never listens. He's just waiting to like get his point in and get his point across.
And then get out.
And like, I'm going to tell you that, I'm spread so thin and how dare you and blah, blah, blah. And then he's out the door. And really, truly, because I went back to season 15 because I saw some things because I guess the two of them were in couples counseling and they were trying to work on their marriage and they were out somewhere. And so obviously you could see what's going on. And so you can see for all of these years, all Christine really, not all, but I mean, I think what Christine really wanted was for him to just sit down and say, yeah, this is really hard. Like, I am spread thin. I'm going to just give everyone some advice as a therapist. Like, when someone comes to you with a problem or an issue or whatever it is, the first thing you have to do is stop and validate their feelings. Across the board, I don't care who it is. Validate the person's feelings. Good managers know that the first thing that you do is you validate someone's feelings. You make them be seen and heard. And I think one of the big issues with Christine was I don't think she felt seen or heard. She didn't feel, and maybe someone like Janelle might not necessarily need that level of that. I think everybody needs it, but maybe she didn't need that level of it. But Christine needed to be seen and heard, and he doesn't listen to anyone.
She made
ever.
She made some kind of comment about how like he never even said she was beautiful.
Like a few times.
Yeah, I think he just never was nice to her in any way.
Yeah, I think that but I don't think he listens to Mary or Janelle. Maybe he listens to Robin. I can't tell. I don't think he listens to Robin, because then you will then get Robin will chime in about what's going on between Christine several seasons ago, before all of this that's happened. And she will even say, wow, that sounds hard for Christine. Like, she has the ability to stop and say, yeah, that must be difficult. I can see where she's coming from.
Yeah.
But Kody is like, they showed a clip from, I guess, when they were in Vegas, of him running from house to house, like running. Like, it's across the street. Like, you don't need to run. You could walk.
Well, he loves to be dramatic.
Yeah. And so that whole idea of what Christine kept saying to him was like, when you're with me, you're not with me, you're on the phone, you're rushing off, you don't want to, be here, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. And that's the problem is that their whole concept, their whole idea of plural marriage and all of that, it's like you've proven to us that it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not healthy for people.
It's not healthy for people, and it's got nothing to do with, maybe part of it is the jealousy, but it's really got to do with, you have just so much time and energy and bandwidth every single day to put into people and into their relationships. And a partnership, you can't have a partnership with someone part-time. It doesn't work like that. So that's why I do wonder if he was a better leader, if he could validate people, if he could listen more, if he could, plan his time better, if he could put his phone down and really be present with his kids and do all of this. Would this be a lot different? But I don't know.
I truly think he has no ability to think about how other people feel at all. I mean, he just thinks about himself.
Yes.
Period. And like with Robin, Robin gets villainized a lot, but and
I don't think she's a villain at all.
Robin only knows what Kody tells her. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like she's talking with Christine and they're confiding in each other. No. All she knows is what Kody tells her, and she's just kind of an outsider, and she doesn't know what he does all day either. Like that episode where they were all talking about how, he's never present, he's never around, he just kind of comes and goes, nobody knows where he is or what he does all day. They don't know.
Maybe he's got another family.
He's got another 4 or 5 wives over here.
Yeah, no, it's so funny you said that, because that's exactly what I wrote down. I said, Kody doesn't listen to anyone. It's all about him and how things affect him, and how he is, and he cannot hear. He is such the victim. Like, my life is the hardest. My da 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 da. And I do think the other part of this is I think that Kody, thought, like, I'm going to be the man of the house. These women are going to fall in line and do what I want to do. And I'm going to be this leader. And then somewhere along the way, he obviously married pretty strong women who were like, no, that's not how it's going to roll at all. But I do also wonder if he had married people that maybe didn't have such strong personalities, or that could maybe roll along a bit more. But I don't know. I wonder if I keep thinking, like, is there a configuration in these personalities and people where it can work? And you can really see in this last season, because I did watch all of this up until, I think it's episode 7 now of season 17, how he seems to be really questioning, how did we get here? How did I get to this place? And he seems to think, I feel like this is what he's alluding to. I think he's made some comments of, like, I've given my wives too much power, like too much of a say, too much of, and I think that probably you see these other plural families where it's very much like the man makes the decisions. There's no questioning it. Whatever feelings you have, stuff them down deep inside. and you just keep going.
Yeah, because one thing he has said throughout the whole series, you know, he always tries to look like this modern day polygamist, and he'll say stuff like, well, you know, nobody's a prisoner here. If, you know, my wives can leave if they don't like it here. He says that over and over. And now all of a sudden a wife wants to leave, and he's like, well, I never told her she could move my stuff out. I never gave her permission to leave. And he's just swinging in the opposite direction.
He's devastated.
He's freaking out. But again, he is just acting so shocked by all of this and saying like, well, why didn't you tell me earlier? Maybe we could have gone to counseling.
Oh, I know. That whole thing. I was just like, hello, you're on a TV show. You of all people can go back and reference
episode 1.
You can reference it. Of course. He's like, counseling? Like, no, I watched episodes. You guys did meet with a counselor. Yeah. So he feels like everything's moving so quickly, and she's like, no, it's not.
No. And also, did he really think that he, you know, him stopping by her house every 3 days and, you know, coming in late at night, being on his phone, spending the night, and then leaving in the morning, did he really think that was a good relationship, a fulfilling relationship, that she would be happy with that?
But I think that's the relationship he has with Mary. And I think that Mary, and I do want to get into...
He has no relationship with her
Yeah,
anymore.
but I think that he thinks that... I mean, I think that he probably thought, like, I can treat Christine the way I treat Mary, and Mary seems to keep, you know, bebopping along.
Or Janelle. I think he treats Janelle basically the same.
And Christine was just like, no, you can't, you're not going to treat me like that. But yeah, these last episodes have been hilarious because he is shocked. He can't believe this. What do you mean? You want to go to Utah? I'm like, Jesus Christ, buddy, I know she wants to go to Utah. I just started tuning in. Like, you know, just zero awareness, listening, because he's never listening. He's going from point A to point B. And I also do wonder, because, you know, he told her, I don't want to have an intimate relationship with you anymore, which I think was for her the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, I think that for her was like, I'm out, I'm done. But I think that his ego is really bruised. Like, I really do think that his ego is beyond
Someone's
bruised.
leaving him.
Someone does not want to be with the great Kody Brown. And he's just like, wait, what?
What? You mean you don't want to just, like, share your money with me and not have sex with me, and I don't do anything with you? What?
Yes.
Are you kidding?
Well, okay, so we have to talk about COVID, or as Kody says, COVID-19. Kody always had to say COVID-19, COVID-19. It's like, you know what, Kody? We all know. COVID. It's not like we've lived through all these other ones.
You're like, which one?
This isn't like the Halloween
20?
series.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, we got it. COVID. And so I was going back and trying to piece together the whole COVID situation. And I will say that it is, you know, we all didn't know how long COVID was originally going to last. So I do understand how people can get themselves in these situations of being like, oh, I thought it was going to be a couple weeks. Now it's a month. Now it's this. Oh, crap. Let's think about this. But I do think it would be hard to have, you know, we see this in families all the time where people had different feelings about COVID and safety and going out or not going out. So I'm not surprised to see that each household had their own feelings about what they were going to do and what they weren't going to do. But Kody's reaction to that is, if you don't do it the way I want you to do it, and he keeps backing that up based on safety, like safety, safety, safety. It's just like, do you have some sort of mitigating reason why you should be so worried? You know what I mean? It's like, I can understand if he had asthma.
Are you immunocompromised?
Yeah, thank you. If you are, you know, is there something that you're not telling us? But regardless of that, everyone needs to do what makes them feel safe. But if you don't follow his rules, it's like, I'm going to take my love away from you.
Exactly.
And
including his kids.
Yeah. No. It was mainly his kids. It was almost like, you, which one was it? You, Isabel, want to go. Well, Isabel in the surgery. That
Isabel
was unreal.
And he called it traveling.
Yes.
Oh, because Christine and Isabel are out there traveling. She's getting a freaking life-saving surgery, you asshole.
Well, he's like, well, can't we wait 6 months? I'm like, this is your daughter. She's in tremendous pain. He's like, oh, well, wait a second. But, you know, she's been living with this for 9 months. It's like, yes, Kody. She's been living with, this is the part where you're like, you don't listen. She's been living with this 9 months. She's in tremendous amount of pain. Sorry, COVID's happening. She's got to get the surgery. Like, this poor girl needs
And
to get out of
also,
pain.
He acts like, okay, they're traveling. I'm sure they're wearing masks. They're taking the precautions. Look, during COVID, life did have to go on for certain people in certain
for surgeries.
circumstances.
Yes.
People used precautions. The people who were getting COVID were the people who were not using precautions, and they were going to,
The bars
concerts
and getting up close with randoms.
Yeah, and another thing, just a side note here. Kody is very how should I put this? I mean, okay, he sells guns, okay? He's probably on the,
He probably
Trumpy,
voted for Trump.
the Trumpy side.
Both times.
And one of his kids, I think, is Payton. He goes on TikTok a lot. And he said that Kody has still never been vaccinated. So he's an anti-vaxxer.
Yes.
So you're so scared of COVID, but you won't get vaccinated. You don't believe in the vaccines. And yet, so you just want everybody else to just stay in their house so that you can bebop from house to house.
Yeah, and not spend any, and even when he was coming over, right, this is what Christine was talking about. It sounds like he would come over every couple days. They'd sit outside for an hour.
Right.
And then Cody's mad that they're going in and going to sleep. It's like, Kody, they're teenagers. They don't want to sit outside with you for an hour and hours and talk to you. Like, this is part of the problem of just not listening, because Christina said several times over and over again, like, your kids have been here, your kids want to have a relationship with you, but you're not showing up. And so it seems like, and this is this jealousy thing between, I think Christine is very honest about it, where she feels this jealousy of Robin, but she's not mad at Robin. I think she's jealous of the situation, and that because Robin was the last wife, they have the youngest kids in the family. And so those two kids need a lot more time and energy than the older kids. And because of that, that's where Kody spends all of his time. So, right? Am I understanding this right? So his big thing was, I don't want to get COVID because I need to be able to be with these younger kids.
But, okay, first of all, Robin seems to not be able to take care of more than one child at a time, because we have Robin and a nanny.
Yes, I've heard Christine talk about this nanny many times.
They hired a nanny to help with the younger kids, but then she also has 3 older kids. Why was it okay for all the other women's kids to look after the younger kids?
Yeah.
But her kids can't look after, like, her kids are, she has one, I think one is like 19, one's 21. Or, I mean, they're pretty old. They can help you with the, I mean, it's just such bullshit. So
the standards are very different,
totally
right?
Different
and I think
standards.
This is what pisses them off so much, is the standards are different for Robin. And again, Kody cannot hear that, cannot hear that part from Christine at all. And maybe some of the standards are different now because they have a lot more money and there's more fame and there's more of these things. There's more resources and all of that. But at the same time, there is some level of, again, back to just listen, hear what she's got to say. Like, it upsets her, so just validate it, you know, because it is true. It is a different situation for Robin, and I think Robin seems to, I don't know, Robin seems to have a better sense of it. I can't tell what's going on with her. She's a hard one to read.
She is a hard one to read, because sometimes she'll seem okay, but yeah, it just seems like Kody is yeah, there's a totally different set of standards for Robin's kids, and he says, oh well, Robin enforces his rules, and so, like, he didn't want the high schooler to go back to school in person, and so basically Robin just said, you're not going back to school, whereas Christine gave her daughter a choice. Do you want to go back to school or do you not? And then, like, with Janelle's sons, Gabe and Garrison, who Kody wanted to kick them out.
Remember, God,
where he was like,
thing.
You're 18, get the hell out, and this and this and that. And that's a very Mormon thing, where they kick these sometimes younger than 18.
Oh, yeah, like 12, 13,
they kick them
14-year-old
out
boys.
because they don't want the boys starting to hook up with the young
Yeah.
girls because the young girls are for the old men.
Yes, the 12-year-old girls need to marry the 75-year-old
Exactly. So
guy.
let's get rid of all the teenage boys. We don't want them ruining any of our plans. And I was just like, this is just sickening. And Janelle's just like, I'm not kicking my kids out. She's like, you're not even on the lease.
Yeah, I was like, good for you, Janelle. But what was so interesting about that was, and his kids were upset, like, hey, you're not spending time with me. You're not investing the time and energy. Like, why am I going to follow your rules?
Gabe
Why?
said he hadn't seen him in 9 months.
Oh my God. So, but they're like, and they're right. Like, what are they supposed to do? Take a COVID test every single day on the off chance that Kody decides to show up. So I thought it was so ironic that he calls his son a narcissist. I'm like, ooh.
That's terrible.
So he blames his COVID rules for all of this, right? So there's all these problems because of the COVID rules. And he can't see that this is not just the COVID rules. It's the COVID rules and how
they're applied.
How they're applied and who follows them and who doesn't. And it's like, people who do not follow what you want are punished.
Right. And at some point, the COVID rules were constantly evolving.
Yes.
You know, as we learned more, as we realized, this isn't going to be a couple of months. You know, we have to adapt, whatever. But not Kody. He has his protocols that he has written down.
Yes.
And yes, follow these or be damned.
Yes. Well, and that's the part that I thought was so interesting is because people that I know who were very, adamant about COVID were very much like, I have a relative who's older or I'm immunocompromised or I have this kind of particular job and I have to be aware of it. And it's like, you're looking at the Kody situation. It's like, why are you, I feel like he saw this opportunity to control and he just took it and just ran with it. And I don't know. I don't know if he's trying to prove to himself or to the world that he can control this whole family, he control these women. I have no idea what his thought process is, but it's almost this feeling of I need to control you. I don't know. It's so hard to because I saw him just in these last episodes with Janelle and this whole trailer situation. And I can see how annoying he is because at first she's like, listen, my house is being sold. I got to figure this out. And I'm with Janelle on this. She wants to live at Kody Pass. She's like, I'm going to get this sucker moving. I'm like, great. So she, figures out like, I'm going to buy a trailer. I'm going to do this. I'm going to move to the land. I'm going to do this. And then Cody's just like, oh my God, you made all these decisions. And then he seems to be on board with the decisions.
Right. And then a couple days
later, he's not on board with the decisions. Yeah. And then he's back over here. And then he's back over here. And he's like, well, does Janelle think I'm going to live in this trailer with no running water? And, it's just, it's I mean, I cannot imagine these women. I would want to wring his neck because he's
never satisfied.
He's all over the place.
Well, and he wants to be king of his kingdom. Like he
does.
says, he's been saying this all throughout the entire show, that he has this fantasy, and that's why he wanted to build this one big, massive house on Coyote Pass where everybody had he had plans drawn up. Everybody had basically like their own house, and then he had his own space in the middle. And nobody wanted that. And he would always say he had this fantasy about, he wanted a place for the older kids to come back so they could always come back and live there if they wanted to. And it's like, Kody, no, that's not how life works. Your kids, they get married, they have their own families, they move on, they live wherever they want to live. He wants to control everybody and keep everybody in his little kingdom.
But I don't get the real sense that he keeps talking all the time about being a father and my purpose and fatherhood. And
he spends no time with any of them.
I don't get any sense that you enjoy any of your children. Like we see the scene of you going with your kid to the dump or whatever, throwing stuff in the back of a truck. But I feel like if the cameras weren't there, I don't think you would be doing this. Like, I don't think that you enjoy, that you want to be doing the hardcore work because he hasn't been. He has not done any real parenting and labor and figuring things out and doing things over, just
but he loves to lecture them when it comes to like sex. So he loves to give sex lectures and tell them to be chaste and, that makes me sick. Yeah. When I see that, it makes me ill.
So I've sort of like been analyzing the show, and I think I understand now why the show is incredibly boring. Okay, this is why. So the issues and topics they have for each of the episodes are really like a 20-minute discussion. But they take, or maybe an hour-long discussion, but they take that one particular topic and they spread it out over, 12 episodes. And every single time someone talks about something, everybody has to comment on it. And so then, now I get to hear about if Mary would want to live on Coyote Pass. Now I got to hear about Robin's feelings. Now I got to hear about Christine's. And then you're like, okay, I've got everyone's opinions about this. And then a new episode will come and I'm like, okay, now we're hearing about it again. And now we're hearing about it again. And then when I was watching the episode where McKelty gives birth, God, at home, I mean, whatever you want to do. But that just seemed awful. But that Robin apparently, because she's close with McKelty, was watching from a Zoom video because she couldn't be there for the birth. And so they show poor McKelty trying to give birth. We go back to Robin. Robin's talking about how difficult it is to see her like this. And it's so hard. We're back to the birth. Now we hear Robin again saying it's so hard to be this. Now we're back to the birth. Now
it's very repetitive.
It's just like, okay, we got it. First time. I got it. Robin, it's hard to see. We're with you. Like they beat dead horses.
Well, also, TLC does that thing where they go to commercial and it's like coming up, and then they come back from commercial and then they replay what happened before the commercial.
It's exhausting.
Then they get back. So that makes a show that should be half an hour, an hour.
Yeah. The show should be a half hour long. And it should
Except for now.
Yeah,
now it's good.
Now it's good, but even now it's still getting a little repetitive. It's a little bit of like now Cody's sitting here because, and I think that in many ways it's sort of this representation of Kody because Kody seems shocked every time Christine sits down with him and has a conversation with him. He seems surprised. And I'm like, are we replaying all of this over and over again for you, Kody? Like, are you the one
so
that needs
you
to
can
catch
get it? Yeah. And he's so angry.
Oh, yeah.
He's so angry. He's incensed. And then he made that patriarchy comment. I mean, he's thinking to myself, I've lost control. I've lost control. And he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah. Kody,
someone has stood up to him, finally.
But he's not a leader. He thinks he's a leader, but
he is.
He's not a leader. I think he's super jealous of that family they went to go visit. What were their names? Not the Duggards, but that's a whole other situation.
Yeah,
but
I know what you're talking about.
The Brokers or the somethings.
Dogers.
Something.
Yeah.
This family that has 3 wives and they live in this big house together and we're going over there for fellowship and all of that kind of stuff. I think he sees that. I think he wants that because I think that's a very different dynamic because I think maybe this guy's probably
because that husband is not a scatterbrain. Like Cody's a spaz. He's a spaz. He's a scatterbrain.
He may have ADD or
he
ADHD.
has something. He has the attention span of a gnat. He can't focus on anything. I mean, he's not capable. It takes a very certain kind of person, a very patient person to do this. And I don't know. Have you seen that show, My 5 Wives?
No.
Well, it's another TLC show that it only had like 2 seasons. And again, it's very boring. But the husband on that show is the opposite of Kody. He is very empathetic, very, kind of enlightened. Yeah. Really talks to his wives because they have the same issues. They have a lot of jealousy between them. And, he's like the opposite of what Kody does. But it's a pretty boring show. It's not on anymore. But even that guy has a lot of issues in his family.
I did want to go back. I went back to season 9, which is where we hear about Mary and the catfisher, right? And it's so funny because I remember people talking about this on Facebook, like in Facebook groups about pop culture or whatever. People would talk about it. I thought it was going to be a huge season-long thing. It's like 1 episode of the show. It's a little blip. But, and you really do feel, I think we see Mary at this very vulnerable point because I think that after years and years and years of being ignored by Kody, she found someone who was really paying attention to her and listening to her. and she gets catfished. But it's so interesting because I didn't watch like season 10 or season 11. So is Kody pissed at her? Because I get the sense that Cody's still mad at her.
Oh yeah, I think what happened, I haven't, I'm not real clear on all this, but because initially when the catfishing thing came out, Kody was being very nice to her about it. Mm-hmm. Because I think the way that she presented it was that, you know, she was just friends with this person.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a woman pretending to be a man.
Yes.
And so Kody bought into this thing that, you know, Mary just had this male friend online and they were just friends, and, you know, so he seemed to be kind of understanding of it at first.
But then
it came out, you know, then it started to come out on the internet, and the actual catfisher, I think, well, the actual catfisher wrote a book.
Oh, the catfisher wrote a book?
The catfisher wrote a book, which is not even real. It's a lot of fantasy, too. But anyway, I think what it came out was that Mary was planning on leaving Kody. That it was not just a friendship. That she and the person she was talking to were talking about she was going to leave Kody and be with this person. And I think she admitted that, finally had to admit. That, and so then he was like, well, wait a minute. You know, this wasn't just some innocent online friendship gone wrong. She was going to leave me. Mm-hmm. And then once he figured that out, that she was essentially cheating on him, then he got pissed. Yeah. And then he was just like, that was it for him.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm not going to.
And he hasn't really forgiven her. You can tell, like, he has not forgiven her. But Mary seems to be watching Christine go through all this. Mary's doubling down. Mary's like, you got to stay and you've got to fight. Like, she's making Christine, like, look at look at Kody pass and blah, 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 blah. It's a little bit of, are you saying this to Christine or to yourself, Mary? Because I'm surprised how Mary has been so.
Well, because I don't think Mary has nowhere else to go. She has one child who I don't think she has the best relationship with.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought they did. Didn't we see them wedding planning? Yeah, right before COVID started.
Well, but so her child is now Leon. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like Leon was very, very angry with Mary. After the catfish. And held a grudge for a very long time. Because same kind of thing. Like, you were cheating on Dad, and, you know, our family was breaking up because of it. And so, I don't know. I think they're in a better place now. But I just feel like Mary feels like, I don't know. Christine and Janelle, they have more children. They have more places to go, more options. Mary made a comment, I think it was last week, something about how, you know, I helped start this family and Kody and I were in love and we had plans. And no, she's dug in.
Yeah. Well, and the other part, again, this is Kody, and Cody's like not listening and not understanding, is essentially what happened was that once their child, Mary and Cody's child, grew up, there was no reason for Kody to go over there. Right? So when COVID happened, and I don't know how long their child's been gone for, but
a while.
So it's almost as if once their kid, the one thing that they shared was out of the house, he stopped going over there. He stopped seeing her. He just saw her as this, you know, and that is the problem with this, with Kody in general, is I think obviously if someone who had a little bit more EQ would have been like, oh gosh, Mary must be, you know, I have a relationship with Mary.
She's an empty nester. Yeah. She must be lonely. I need to make sure I go, no consideration.
And that's the other part of this plural marriage part too, which is with your partner, you need to be going through the same things at the same time. Like if they were together, they would both be empty nesters and they would be filling their lives with things. And what's so hard is she's the empty nester, but he's not, yeah. And he's got, and you just see this too with Christine's kids, because I guess it truly is really the only one that's really left in the house. So because all of her children are grown, I think that's another reason why Kody was just kind of like, oh, good, I don't have to go to Christine so much anymore, and I don't have to do that. It seems like he obviously makes a lot of the decisions about where he spends time. This is his excuse based on the age of the child.
Exactly.
But it's very convenient because it's Robin.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting too because Janelle's youngest child, Savannah, is a senior in high school. She's still at home as of this point. She's a senior right now. You don't see Kody he hasn't even mentioned her name. I don't even know if he knows who she is.
Yeah.
And she's this quiet girl who's, she doesn't really get any attention from him at all, and he's not concerned. She's still a child. Mm-hmm. He's so fixated on Truly, and it's only because it's Christine's daughter, and he's pissed at Christine for leaving. So he's all focused on Truly. Well, what about you have another minor child over here who's now living in a trailer that you say you're never gonna
ever be in?
He's like, I will never. I was watching, just a little spoiler. I watched this morning the episode on Discovery Plus. Comes out midnight the night before. So I was watching the latest episode, and they bring the trailer to the property, and they're looking at it, and Cody's just complaining about it.
Yep.
How small it is and how inadequate it is, and he's like, I'm never going to use that bathroom. I'll never take a shower here. And it's like, but it's you're just going to let your daughter and your wife live out here. It's fine for them.
Yeah.
But
again, and he's like, but she, Janelle made this decision really quickly, and she just decided, and it's like, no, Kody, she just decided she needed to move forward with her life,
she was about to be homeless. Like she had a month to get out of that place, and she had been looking and couldn't find anything.
Yeah, well, but also it sounded like she had a decision, right? She could either take the money that she had and invest it back in the house and buy the house.
Yeah.
Or she goes back
Invest
to
it in
your
Coyote
dream
Pass.
and pass. Right, and invest in your dream. And she made the decision to invest in your dream. And so that's the thing. I have one husband, and it's hard to get on the same page with everything all the time. That's why, I don't know. It's hard enough for two people to stay married. It's hard enough to get married, especially when you're young and you're evolving and growing as you get older.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine trying to do that with four people. Of course it would.
Right.
Because people grow. Well, we've been talking about them for over an hour.
Oh,
but
wow.
I know.
Okay.
But I just want to say, Christine, if you're listening,
we love you.
We love you. You're beautiful.
Love to talk to you.
Yeah. And also the thing is that I felt for her when Kody was so mean to her about, she just didn't feel loved and didn't feel seen and didn't feel desired. And he is so incredulous. Like, she doesn't, it's almost like she doesn't need that.
Right.
She doesn't, why in God's name would she need that? And I'm like, Christine, you go get your groove back. This is your time.
Right.
Find someone.
Yeah.
Find someone who lights up the minute you walk through the room. You deserve that. Don't freaking keep settling for someone like Kody again.
Well, she says she's done with plural marriage.
Yes, good.
She's starting over. Good for her. I hope she gets a spin-off. I don't really want to see Kody anymore.
Yeah.
I'd like to just see a spin-off of
her dating?
Of her, well, not even date if she wants to, but just her and her family, and then Janelle, because she and Janelle hang out all the time. They're always, I see them on social media. They travel together. They're both work in the same company. Let's have a Janelle and Christine
take Utah.
Take Salt Lake City.
Take Salt Lake City. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, I want to see that.
I mean, who knows where the evolution's going to be? It seems like I feel like by season 20, it's just going to be Kody married to Robin, and
Yeah, and they just don't even speak to Mary, and she just kind of shows up, and she's like lurking around. Yeah, nobody cares about them anymore. No one cares.
But there isn't, when you watch their interviews, you watch everybody's dynamic, there's not a lot of lightness, just when you see them all interacting with each other, it feels so heavy. And that's why when I saw Robin again, I was like, oh my God, just this heaviness of, she went from being kind of smiley and, to like, this is what Kody does to these poor women. It's just by the end, they're just exhausted and can't take it anymore.
It makes their lives so difficult. And also, this is it's not really a way to live.
It's not.
It's not.
Anywho, Well, thank you so much
Yes.
for tuning in to yet another episode of Psych Legal Pop. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes. Subscribe. We want those downloads.
Yeah.
And just keep
it going
listening and spread the word. Tell people your family, friends, or anyone who knows.
Anyone who you think might like
Enjoy.
to dish over this stuff.
I want to hear about sister wives for over an hour. All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellows wherever you get your podcasts.